So, just in terms of fertility, where is the fertility of the suckler herd in Northern Ireland? And currently we're sitting about 409 days is the average mean calving interval. So that's when the cow produces a calf this year to the cow produces a calf next year. It's in and around that 409 days. That's obviously, ideally, you'd be wanting 365 days. So we're at 45 days out on that there. You can't see from this table here, there's quite a range. Now, obviously there is, our peak here might be in around the 360, 370 days. Over 30% of our cows have extended calving interval beyond what is desirable. Unfortunately, we saw no improvement in this calving interval. Back in the 1990s, there was research undertaken at Hillsborough, and it showed that the mean calving interval around 400 days. So really, almost 30 years later, we're still sitting around that 400-day mark. There's no marked improvement in fertility. And really, in terms of where we should be aiming for, our aim in terms of fertility should be 365 days. So in terms of the target is this 365 days, we should be aiming for less than 5% of the cows culled annually as farms. We should be aiming for about 95% of our cows producing a calf, actually go on to wean that calf. And moving more and more in the future, so we're looking at trying to get a compact calving pattern, trying to get 80% of our cows calved in the first 6 weeks of a 12-week calving interval. And really having that tight calving pattern brings a lot of benefits in terms of fertility. We see aiming for a 15% replacement rate and calving our replacements at about 24 months of age. So these are the targets that we'll be setting for our farms. And tonight we'll go through some of the reasons that maybe this fertility isn't as good as what it could be, and sort of to highlight some areas where we could possibly look to improve this. So really, what influences fertility? And this is only a short list. There's many more things we could add to this, but nutrition, body condition score, herd management, herd health, genetics. There's a range of factors that could take in here. So some we'll cover tonight, some we'll not cover. But certainly these first couple I'm going to cover in my presentation, but you'll hear from some of the other speakers about health and genetics later on. I want to bring to your attention a survey that was undertaken by API a few years ago. And this was undertaken out in 100 farms throughout Northern Ireland. And we looked at farms and asked farmers a number of questions. And from that, we then compared, based on their answers, compared their own herd fertility based on the answers. And you'll hear some interesting factors coming up as we go through tonight in terms of things that the farmer does, in terms of management, decisions that the farmer takes, and actually how that actually had an impact on fertility of those herds. And that will give us some steer to ways of improving our fertility going forward. So we'll hear a lot more talking about this fertility survey as we progress through tonight. As I said, I'm going to talk about nutrition tonight. I'm going to cover a little bit of nutrition. Every type of nutrition for suckler cows, we're normally thinking of feed that present to the cow. And that feed is classified as energy. So really, once you put feed into the cow or energy into the cow, where does that go? Well, it depends on what stage the cow is. Whether the cow is a young cow that's growing, needs extra nutrition for growth, whether it's an older cow, or whether it's a stage of lactation, whether she's wearing a calf, or whether she's actually a dry cow. But at Hillsborough, we have the ability to actually put cows in chambers to really accurately measure where that energy goes. We've undertaken a lot of work both on dry cows and lactating cows on this. And some of that data that we've done over the past few years has indicated that some of the rational models that were historically used are actually underestimating the maintenance requirement for the cow. And the maintenance requirement is really the energy it takes to maintain that cow, especially to run the engine, really, if you want to put it in that respect. And let's say our data is indicating that up to 30% the guidelines are up to 30% lower than what they actually are for the type of genetics that we currently have. So something to take into consideration. A lot of cows think of the maintenance energy. A lot of that energy requirement is determined by the livelihood of the cow, how big the cow is. So We very often in research terms talk about metabolic life weight basis, but really it's how big the cow is. And it's no strange fact that larger cows have a higher energy demand. And this is just a graph pulled off Bovis last week, and it really compares the carcass weight of cows really from 2008 right up to 2018. And this is the 8 most common breeds in Northern Ireland. And by and large, you can see, and it doesn't matter what breed it is, by and large, you can see the average cull cow weight, the average cull carcass weight of cows has increased by about 12 kilos over that time period. So then, if you think of the cow, if the carcass weight is increased by 12 kilos, in theory, the live weight of the cows would probably increase by about 24 kilos over the last 10 years. So if we now have bigger cows, then cows have a higher energy demand and need more feed. And some rough calculations is on an energy basis that need about an extra 7 megajoules of energy per day. And what does that mean in terms of feed? Well, that actually means about an extra ton of silage would be required per year. So something to bear in mind when we're thinking of feeding cows. Nutrition is closely related to body condition score, and I'm sure you're all familiar with body condition score. It's based on a 1 to 5 scale. I know hopefully you're all actually looking at cows and actually looking, are the cows thin, are they close to body condition score, are they fat, or close to low being 1, fat being 5, and just where they are. Certainly you can see the photographs here, it actually doesn't look too bad now, but you can see it even in the booklet. This cow body condition score 2, this cow body condition score 3. But really the impact of body condition score is largely due to the nutrition of the cows. So the more feed you put into the cow, the more likelihood she is to be up into a higher body condition score. But why is body condition score important? And tonight we're talking about fertility, and this is some work from Tuggis, and we can see the impact of body condition score on subsequent reproductive performance. So in this first table, we just look, cows with no body condition score, it was 57 days before they started cycling. So 50 cows in average body condition score 2.5, 43 days once they started to cycle again. And then cows that were fatter at calving were actually 48 days. So really the target there was sort of saying that cows that were 2.5, body condition score 2.5, actually started to cycle earlier. When the cow starts cycling earlier, she's going to hopefully get a calf earlier. This is backed up by other Tuggis data. You know, so the body condition score at calving versus the subsequent calving interval. And for thin cows, body condition score 1 to 1.5, and calving interval about 420 days. Cows that were body condition score 3 of calving had a calving interval about 380 days. And once they were 2.5 to 3 had a calving interval of about 365 days, which is what you really want. So really it just shows that the body condition score calving has a major influence on future fertility. Really, that's why it's very important to actually look at the condition score and monitor the condition score and ensure cows don't get too fat or too lean. In terms of gaining body condition score, if you've got a dry cow and you put a lot of feed into her, once she goes above maintenance, she'll start putting that energy into condition score. On the other hand, if you've got a calf cow, the feed you put in, once she sort of maintains herself, the next feed that goes in to her, that energy will go into milk yield. Then after the milk yield, it will go into her actually trying to maintain or increase body condition score. And then she'll start thinking about getting back a calf and put energy into more fertility aspects. And this is a decreasing priority. So if you think of when a cow calves, and when you want to put her back in calf. So you're putting her back in calf about 3 months after she initially calves. At that stage, she's at peak milk. She's producing as much milk as she's going to be. She's sort of peaked in terms of yield per day. And at that stage, she's really meeting her high energy demand. She's really getting as much feed in to ensure she's back in calf and hopefully gets a 365 calf interval. In terms of targets, I'm sure you've heard this previously, but really in spring calving, we're sort of thinking you calve your cow, you're weaning your cow, at a condition score 3. She may burn a little bit of condition off over the winter time to get down to certainly no less than 2, but ideally 2.5. And then by mating time, and this is the period when she's really working the hardest, because she's just had a calf, she's producing milk, and she's hopefully starting to gain some body condition. So this is the time when she really needs a high level of being going into her. And then go back into the condition score 3 at breeding. So this has been a historical sort of guideline. Some work we've undertaken recently at Hillsborough just looked at the performance of the calf, the subsequent calf that was born. So what we had cows, and we had very little change in body condition score from weaning through to calving. We had cows that actually, from weaning through to calving, gained weight, or we had cows that actually lost weight. And in this scenario, the cows that actually had very little change, less than a quarter of a condition score change, actually their calves had the highest subsequent performance. So the calf within the cow actually had the highest performance in that scenario. So maybe some of the research might change and these guidelines might change, but certainly in terms of body condition score targets, we certainly do not want cows going above 3 or going below 2. So ideally keeping them between that 2 to 3 condition score 3 to 2 is where we'd be aiming for. If we think of nutrition and then the cost of production, graze grass is the cheapest feed available in Northern Ireland, so we really want to get as much graze grass in there as we possibly can. So, and really to do that there, it's really important to match your calving season with your growth curve. So we see each week in the press our grass check data showing when grass grows. You know on your own farm when grass grows and when grass peaks. So really try to match calving when at the start of the grazing season, and you can match calving. Certainly, if you have a tight calving spread, this is easier. But even if you're calving cows over a 2-month period, that's much easier than if you're calving them all year round. So by having a tight calving period, you can really maximise the amount of graze grass within there to meet the energy demands of the cow. Moving on to trace elements, and we've been involved with others in a project looking at trace elements on cows. Basically, this was a number of blood samples taken around the breeding period and analysed in PSD for either copper, iodine, or selenium. And from this data, we can see that about 15% of the cows had actually were below the lower limits, so they were deficient for copper, and around 80% of the cows were deficient for iodine and selenium. Iodine and selenium are very important trace elements for fertility, and with this high number of cows actually having became deficient at that time period, that could be one of our underlying reasons for low fertility in the suckler herd. So really the guidelines would be to really monitor, to get a few blood samples taken and monitor whether you've got a deficiency for these or not. And if you've got a deficiency, consider going in and supplementing some type of supplementation. On that, if we compare some of these levels that we did actually get, if we compare it to previous data undertaken about 15 years previous to this, actually the levels have declined. So there may be some indication that trace elements are becoming an increasing problem at a higher level. Based on that, we have some current research ongoing at Athbury, and it's looking at just the link between trace elements and the link between trace elements in the grass and trace elements in the animal. This here, it might look quite complicated, but we're basically just presenting tonight some of the information on iodine levels and selenium levels in the grass. And certainly this initial data from last year would indicate that there is seasonal trends, and there may be some link with nitrogen fertilizer implications, or nitrogen fertilizer application, with certainly lower levels of, higher levels of selenium in the grass that receive less nitrogen. So that's ongoing work that we'll hopefully take forward and roll out on farm. The next area I want to cover tonight is AI. You know in Northern Ireland that the average herd size is less than 20 cows, and yet we've only got 20% of the Northern Ireland herd using AI within the herd. And really, that is limiting us in terms of being able to introduce new genetics. If you go out to buy a bull and you really can't afford a small herd, you can't afford to replace that bull in a probably only get 4 or 5 years out of that bull. Whereas the AI can obviously replace your genetics on a more frequent basis. However, in the survey I referred to earlier, when we asked farmers about AI, there was a number of issues raised. Some of them perceived AI to have lower success rate rather than natural service. Some will say there's very high labour requirements, and it is a high labour requirement if you have to look under cows twice a day for 25 minutes to half an hour, AM, PM. So there is a labour requirement there, so that is a valid point. And then the other aspect is heat detection. And some people find it actually hard to identify heats for AI. So we basically have undertaken a number of synchronization programs, and with this overcomes the need for heat detection. So you can basically synchronize the cow, all the cows, and get them cows served earlier. So in terms of this slide that I just put up, and this shows one farm that we worked with back in 2002 or 2012. And essentially, in 2012, they were running a bull, so we're putting the bull out to the cows, and letting the bull stay with the cows for 12 weeks. And you can see by and large, there was sort of the cows were calving over a 13-week period, with probably a peak in there about week 5 and 6, but yet a high peak in week 7. But overall, there's only about 48% of the cows, less than half the cows, were calving in the first 6 weeks. Earlier we talked about company part and about 80%, part would be 80% of the cows calving in the first 6 weeks. So whenever you actually move to the synchronization, the blue bar, you can basically synchronize the cows. Now some would say, why was there such a range here? This range was due to different bulls being used and different breeds being used. But essentially, the key take-home message was by synchronizing the herd, 75% of those cows calved in the first 6 weeks of that breeding period. So actually by synchronizing the herd, he reduced his calving interval and of the herd. Next question then is, what program do we synchronize cows with? And very often at farmer meetings, I get lots of questions of what's the best protocol? And in reality, there is a range of protocols out there, different time periods, different products being used. Normally you use a progesterone device. Some programs use some of these other hormones, GnRH. All the details is in the booklet, so I'll not go through it. And then prostaglandins. But in terms of results, we do get a range of results. This is just one study we're involved with, over 600 cows and about 400 heifers. And essentially, the results for heifers range from 35 to 84% conception to first service. With cows, we're in around that 60%, but some variation. And really the variation, there's as much variation with one program to the other program. So really what I would recommend to people is don't get too hung up on the protocol. Speak to your vet and take the vet's recommendations and really follow the protocol through that way. So really in the research we're involved with, there's a limited difference in the success of various protocols. However, the protocols with the reduced handlings is certainly the preferred option on many farms. And certainly David and myself was involved in a large scale project in the south of Ireland, and it really just focused on a 3-handling program for cows, and certainly was very, very successful. So success has been probably all of each protocol is more related to the cow history, the cow body condition score, the trace element status of the cow, so stuff we've already talked about. In terms of the cow history, late calvers, cows with the body condition score, those cows are going to take longer to start cycling. So actually by synchronizing them, you can sort of kick-start the process a little bit earlier. And albeit the results might be slightly poorer. But in terms of some of the work done in Teagasc, there was one batch of data, and really the cows were scanned at the outset to see whether or not they were cycling. So we were able to see whether there was a CL or not. So basically whether the cow was cycling or not. And one protocol that did not use any GnRH showed cows that weren't cycling had poor results. when the cows were cycling. However, if you want to tighten them up, it could still be advantage to do that. But I suppose the key take home from this slide was actually the protocol that used slightly more product in terms of slightly more hormones. Might be slightly more expensive to do. However, actually in that case, give the best results. And that's where we maybe encourage farmers to include the vet in the synchronisation and get the vet to scan the cow, and then the vet might be able to tailor the programme to actually maximise the results of the programme. All the factors in terms of success rate, semen quality important, but probably one of the key things is good handling facilities. If you're going to synchronise cows, handle cows, or heifers, you want to get them in and out of the yard as fast as possible, as stress-free as possible. If they're jumping gates and racking the place, that's stressful on both man and beast, and is dangerous for growth as well, and the results are not going to be too good. The other aspect is, regardless of what protocol you develop with your vet, follow the times correctly, follow the administration of the products correctly, particularly if it says deep intramuscular injection. Those are the key aspects you've got to follow. Don't just lift a needle and stick it in under the skin. It says deep intramuscular injection. Make sure you've got the correct needle. Make sure you do what's said on the protocol. The last thing I'm going to cover is some work that we've been involved with NAPI over recent years, and that's over the past couple of years we've been using some sorted semen. Obviously sorted semen, sex female semen has been more used in the dairy herd. We want to see the impact on the suckler herd. And really, on our suckler herd, you can see by and large our data will indicate slightly further conception to synchronization in AI than what you would expect. The first year, our results was quite similar inbound to conventional semen, but over year 2, 3, and 4, with the exception of one bad year, one bad batch, we're generally in around just under that 40 to 50%. It was probably back 5 to 10% of what we get from conventional semen. However, on the plus side, 95% of the calves born were of the desired gender, and that is important. So in terms of what we got, we were using maternal semen to produce females. We were using that on heifers. So it actually meant we had an increased number of maternal females born. Being born to heifers, that's improving the genetic merit of the herd faster. Also with our heifers producing a heifer calf, that was reducing the calf birth rate by about 5 kilos, reducing the calving difficulty, and that's obviously important with 24-month heifers. Certainly the female semen has certainly proved very popular for us. In terms of the male semen, we use male sorority semen, and certainly it has increased the number of tournament males born for beef production, and obviously they are higher value to what a heifer calf would be. However, I do think there is future research required to really improve this success rate and bring it up to the 50-60 level, and certainly there's research areas we could look at in terms of time of AI, etc. Folks, I've run it on probably for too long, but just to summarise, cow fertility has improved over 30 years. We do need to improve it if we're going to have a future. Adequate nutrition should be supplied to ensure cows are maintained at the optimum body condition score, and certainly do not let them get above 3 or below 2. Tight calf interval, matched to grass growth curve will enable grazed grass to be a primary nutritious source if you're wanting to reduce your cost of production. Getting the cows calving, tying it in, and getting the most out of grazed grass is important. We do see it's really important in longer trace element deficiencies, particularly iodine and selenium, so really do consider bleeding a few cows and getting that addressed. And synchronization in AI can offer an opportunity to actually tighten the calving interval, and certainly it will improve the genetic merit of the herd. I want to just finalise by acknowledging a number of the funders that have funded the research in AFI this past few years. Thank you.